Silence in the savannah is never truly empty. It is a presence. It is the breath of a land that has seen a million suns rise and fall. High above the swaying grasses of the Serengeti, the sky is occupied by shadows. Vultures. To the uninitiated, they are omens of misfortune, butchering opportunists, creatures of the macabre. But here, in the raw heart of Africa, beauty is not found in the pristine. It is found in the functional. Without these keen eyes, without these patient voyagers of the wind, this vast cradle of life would quickly become a tomb, a stagnant wasteland of rot and disease. They are the first responders, the silent janitors of the wild.
We often celebrate the hunters, the lions with their golden manes, the leopards with their silent grace. But today, we look at the others, the scavengers, the giants, the specialists, the ones who turn the end of one life into the fuel for 1,000 others. This is the story of the cycle that never stops. This is the Wild Resurgence.
To understand the African savannah, one must first understand the weight of numbers. 1.5 million wildebeests, 200,000 zebras, 500,000 gazelles. This is not just a herd, it is a biological machine of staggering proportions. But this machine requires an immense amount of fuel. Each day, this living tide consumes thousands of tons of grass and millions of liters of water. In the Serengeti, abundance is a fleeting ghost. As the sun begins its relentless march toward the dry season, the landscape undergoes a terrifying transformation. The lush emerald plains of the south turn to a brittle, sharp gold. The waterholes, once vibrant hubs of life, shrink into muddy, feverish puddles. This is the beginning of what we call the Great Purge.
Nature does not hide its balance sheets. For the Serengeti to remain healthy, the weak must be culled. It is a mathematical certainty. Every year, Mother Nature demands a sacrifice of nearly 250,000 souls. The primary architect of this death is not the lion's claw or the hyena's tooth. It is exhaustion. Look at the young. A wildebeest calf is born into a race before it can even walk. It has only minutes to find its legs before the herd moves on. If it falters, it is forgotten. In the eyes of the herd, there is no room for grief, only the collective impulse to survive. Statistics tell a cold story. Only 30% of these calves will survive their first trek to the north. They are the collateral damage of a landscape that has run out of mercy.
This is the silent harvest. As the herds move, they leave behind a trail of the fallen, the old whose joints have finally seized, the sick whose breath has become a labor, and the young who simply couldn't keep the pace. But why do they run? Why risk the predators and the thirst? Because they are driven by a phantom, the scent of rain. Wildebeests have an uncanny ability to detect thunderstorms from over 50 kilometers away. They are chasing the scent of geosmin, the chemical released by soil when it meets rain. They are gambled on a promise of green grass that lies across a border of fire and teeth.
Their destination is the Masai Mara in Kenya, but between the Serengeti and the Promised Land lies the ultimate gatekeeper, the Mara River. For the wildebeest, the Mara is more than a river. It is a psychological barrier. It is a place where the collective intelligence of the herd dissolves into raw, unadulterated panic. They gather on the banks, sometimes for days, staring at the water. They know what lies beneath.
They can see the jagged backs of Nile crocodiles, 300 kilograms of cold-blooded patience floating like driftwood.
The pressure builds. Thousands of bodies press against those in the front. The heat rises. The flies swarm. The fear becomes a physical thing, a vibration through the earth. All it takes is one individual, driven to the brink by thirst or madness, to make the leap. And then, the dam breaks. This is the moment where the purge becomes a spectacle. They do not jump with grace. They tumble. They fall over each other, snapping femurs on the descent. They are crushed by the sheer weight of their own kin in the water. The river doesn't just drown them, it grinds them.
In this chaos, the predators are almost unnecessary. The river is doing their work for them. This is the architecture of desperation, a strategy of predator swamping where so many individuals die at once that the crocodiles and lions simply cannot eat them all. The herd loses 1,000 to save 1,000,000. It is a brutal trade, a cold, evolutionary bargain. But as the blood clouds the water and the cries of the dying echo against the cliffs, the scavengers watch. For them, this is not a tragedy. This is the opening of a grand buffet. The energy of the Serengeti is being transferred, bone by bone, drop by drop, into the bellies of the river.
In the wake of the Great Purge, the savannah does not smell of flowers. It smells of iron, musk, and the sweet, heavy scent of fermentation. To the human nose, this is the stench of death. To the vulture, it is a siren song, a dinner bell ringing across the vast thermal currents of the sky. These are the Alchemists of Decay. Their mission is one of the most vital in the natural world, to take the toxic and turn it into the inert.
The hierarchy at a carcass is a masterclass in evolutionary specialization. It begins with the heavyweights. The lappet-faced vulture, with a wingspan reaching nearly 3 meters, is the can opener of the wild. Most scavengers, including the smaller white-backed vultures, lack the strength to pierce the sun-touched, leathery hide of a large mammal. They must wait. They wait for the lappet-faced to arrive. With a beak designed for sheer destruction, it rips through the hide, exposing the soft tissues beneath. Only then can the banquet truly begin. But why do they not fall ill? The meat they consume is often a biological weapon, teeming with anthrax, botulism, and cholera, pathogens that would decimate any other species. The secret lies in their stomach. A vulture's gastric acid is 10 times more concentrated than a human's. It is a liquid fire, an acid so potent it can dissolve lead bullets and incinerate the deadliest bacteria before they can enter the bloodstream. They don't just eat rot, they sterilize the landscape.
But the sky is not the only player in this game. From the tall grass emerges the most efficient bone crusher on the planet, the spotted hyena. There is a profound injustice in how we perceive the hyena. We call them cowards, yet they are one of Africa's most successful apex predators. We call them thieves, yet it is often the lion who steals from the hyena. Observe their social structure, a strict matriarchy where females rule with an iron paw. This social cohesion allows them to dominate a carcass through sheer intimidation. But it is their physiology that truly sets them apart. A hyena's jaw can exert a pressure of over 800 pounds per square inch. They do not just eat meat, they consume the history of the animal. They crush the femurs, the pelvis, and the vertebrae, extracting the nutrient-rich marrow that no one else can reach. By the time a hyena is finished, even the skeleton has vanished. They are the final chapter in the story of an individual, leaving nothing behind but white, calcium-rich droppings that eventually dissolve to fertilize the grass for the next generation of wildebeests.
And then there are the opportunists, the black-backed jackal and the marabou stork. The jackal plays a dangerous game of hit and run. It is the nimble pickpocket at a chaotic street market, relying on speed and timing. The marabou stork, however, is a more macabre presence. Standing nearly 5 feet tall, with a featherless head and a massive dagger-like beak, it resembles a Victorian undertaker. It doesn't fight. It waits on the fringes, using its height to spot morsels that fall from the table of the larger carnivores. To the observer, this looks like a riot, a chaotic, bloody brawl. But look deeper, and you will see a perfect machine. Each species occupies a specific niche. One opens the skin. One eats the soft meat. One cleans the bone. One crushes the skeleton. One picks up the scraps. There is no waste here. There is only a frantic, high-speed recycling of life energy. In the heat of the African sun, a carcass that could breed a plague if left alone for a week is reduced to dust in less than 4 hours. This is the beauty of the scavengers. They are the immune system of the savannah. They are the ones who ensure that death is not a dead end, but a bridge. As the sun climbs higher, the feast ends, and the silence returns. A cleaner, safer silence, bought and paid for by the Alchemists of Decay. If the open plains are a stage for the frantic dance of life, the Mara River is the dark, silent auditorium where the music stops. Here, the rules of the savannah change. Speed and stamina, the greatest assets of a wildebeest, are rendered useless against the suffocating embrace of the water. This is the domain of the Nile crocodile, a predator that has mastered the art of waiting. The Nile crocodile is a masterpiece of prehistoric design. It does not move unless it is certain. It can slow its heartbeat to a few beats per minute, becoming indistinguishable from a fallen log. For 11 months, it has endured a self-imposed famine, its metabolism slowing down to a near halt. It is a biological battery, waiting for this specific moment to discharge its stored energy. When the wildebeests plunge into the river, they enter a three-dimensional trap. The crocodile does not strike from the front. It attacks from below. With a sudden thrust of its powerful muscular tail, it launches its 300-kilogram frame with the speed of a coiled spring. There is no roar, no warning, only a sudden splash, a frantic bleat cut short, and the terrifying sight of a 1,000-pound animal being dragged beneath the surface. And here we encounter the river's most complex paradox, the hippo. To the casual observer, the hippo is a bumbling giant, a peaceful herbivore that spends its days yawning in the sun. But in the Mara, the hippo is a force of nature more feared than any crocodile. They are the landlords of the river, and they do not take kindly to intruders, living or dead. As the river fills with the victims of the crossing, the pools where the hippos reside become toxic. 100 decomposing carcasses can deplete the oxygen in a pool, turning the water into a stagnant, suffocating soup. The hippos, despite their thick hides, are sensitive to the hygiene of their sanctuary.
Watch as these river horses become unwilling sanitizers. Using their massive shovel-like heads, They physically push the carcasses downstream or onto the banks. They work in a grim, silent coordination, ensuring the flow of the river isn't choked by the weight of the dead. There have been rare, whispered reports of hippos consuming meat, a desperate deviation from their herbivorous nature, but primarily they are the river's bouncers. They clear the path so the water can breathe again.
By nightfall, the Mara River is a graveyard of silver and shadow. The crocodiles retreat to the depths to digest. The hippos emerge from the water to graze on the banks, their massive footprints crushing the mud where the struggle occurred hours before. The river has taken its toll. It has filtered the herd, claiming the weak and the unlucky, and in doing so, it has fed an entire hidden civilization of the deep. The water flows on, carrying the nutrients of the Serengeti into the heart of the Mara, a dark artery of life sustained by the very thing it destroys. We have witnessed the grand spectacles of the savannah, the thunder of the crossing, the fury of the crocodiles, and the patient scavenging of the vultures. But the true conclusion of this story does not happen in the jaws of a lion or the beak of a bird. It happens in the silence of the soil. This is the final purge, the stage where the individual disappears completely, and the atoms of the fallen return to the cosmic ledger of the earth. When the larger scavengers have had their fill, and even the giraffes have gnawed the bones for their marrow, a hidden army of billions takes over.
But the journey doesn't end with the insect. Beneath them, in the dark, cool labyrinth of the soil, are the true masters of the resurgence, bacteria and fungi. They are the ultimate deconstructors. They dismantle the very molecules of life, nitrogen, carbon, phosphorus, and release them back into the earth. If you look at the savannah after the migration has passed, you will see green islands in the sea of gold. These are the graves. The spot where a wildebeest fell becomes a concentrated reservoir of fertilizer. The grass here grows taller, its roots deeper, its leaves more nutrient-rich. This is the great irony of Africa. The death of the migration in the dry season is exactly what fuels the birth of the greenery in the rains.
The Wild Resurgence is not a single event. It is a symphony that has been playing for 1,000,000 years. It is the story of a land that refuses to let anything go to waste, a land where every bone tells a story of survival, and every shadow in the sky is a promise of a cleaner tomorrow. As the stars emerge over the Serengeti, the cycle prepares to turn once more. The rain will come, the grass will grow, and the herds will return. Because in the heart of the wild, death is not the end of the road. It is the path back home.